Now, residents near Sixmilebridge have endured 11 power cuts in the past 14 months, with some lasting several days. However, the cause wasn't storm damage or faulty equipment. Instead, ESB Networks has confirmed the outages were due to this. No, they're not pointing the finger at Woody Woodpecker himself, but rather friends of his, because they say it was due to woodpeckers damaging electricity poles. The Gael TD Joe Cooney has been raising the issue on behalf of affected householders, and he joins me now. Joe, thanks for joining us on, I can safely say, the most bizarre story we've ever chatted to you about.
Good morning, Alan. How are things?
Good. This is an unusual cause of power cuts. How did you first become aware there was an ongoing issue in Sixmilebridge?
Now, I got contacted by residents from rural townlands in Sixmilebridge on the outskirts of the bridge. There were 3 townlands affected, and there are about 40 houses in the locality. And I got calls that over the last months there had been a number of power outages, mostly during the day, and sometimes could be out for 6 to 8 to 10 hours, unfortunately, before they were repaired and got back up and running. There were serious concerns from the householders as regards it happening fairly regular and why it was happening. Again, as we all know, people are working from home. You need electricity. It's vital and important. And we all saw in the storm on last year when we were out of electricity for 8, 9 and 10 days, the havoc it caused. So this has been causing major inconvenience to those 40 householders. So I took up the issue with the ESB, and the ESB did come back to me fairly lively and said, yes, they had checked out the issue. They were aware of it. And what they told me, what was causing the issue was woodpeckers attacking the poles, eating into the poles, and in some situations they ate into the bottom of the pole, went straight up through the pole inside and put the pole into a dangerous condition where unfortunately it came down and caused issues to the overhead wires and transformers that was on the poles, and this is what was causing the issue. So in fairness to the ESB, as I said, they are looking into and they'll see what they can do to prevent this from happening in the future.
Okay, I look, a serious consequence of these actions, but when you approached ESB Networks, I'm sure, Joe, your thought was they'll come back to me to say it's faulty equipment or storm damage at the cause of this, not woodpeckers. What was your reaction when you heard that was the reason?
Well, look, first of all, I thought it was a joke, to be honest with you, Alan. But when I did explore it, I didn't even know it was woodpeckers around the west coast of Ireland at the moment. But when I did explore it and looked into it further, I did actually find out there's a lot of woodpeckers had come from overseas into the east coast, and now they were moving across to the west coast, and the population of the woodpeckers is getting very large, to be honest with you. And I was aware then, I got aware there was other issues with the ESB network around other parts of the country that were affected by the woodpeckers as well, unfortunately. And the ESB now are trying to take precaution from the woodpeckers doing damage to their network. And I believe in England, where there's a lot of woodpeckers, the same thing was happening over there. And in some situations in England, they actually had to put up steel poles to prevent the woodpeckers from doing damage to their network over there. Okay,
so ESB Networks, how they're going about addressing this woodpecker problem is replacing the wooden poles with composite ones. Are you satisfied that'll solve the problem long term, Joe?
Well, at the moment, I believe they replace them with timber poles at a fairly expensive cost. I believe you could be talking about up again $4,500 to replace an ESB pole. But again, if this is going to continue, if the population of the woodpeckers is going to continue to increase, they might have to look, like what you said, Alan, as other options to prevent this from happening and to prevent from power outages in other areas in the future.
Presumably, Joe, whilst these wooden poles are being replaced with the timber ones, there will be further outages, planned outages during that upgrade. What assurances have you been given that disruption will be kept to a minimum?
Yes, it will be kept to a minimum. Unfortunately, the ESB is outside of their control at the moment, what is happening. And again, as we said, it's total inconvenience in householders, and we have gone through enough winters, storms, whatever, with power outages. And in fairness to the ESB, they're doing a fabulous, fantastic job as well, trying to keep their network up to standards, which is not easy. But again, look what they're saying. Once the complaints come in, they will get out their team there to investigate to see what the problems are, which they have done in the past as well, and try and get the problem sorted and get the power back up and running again in order for the convenience of the householders.
Well, it's certainly a slightly bizarre cause of these outages, but good to see the ESB are on the case. Joe, thanks very much for chatting to us. It's our first, I would imagine, but you never know in this game, our last conversation about woodpeckers. Thanks for being with us on Morning Focus.
No problem, Alan. Thank you.
Thank you. That is the Gael TD Joe Cooney with me.